Nobody. Nobody at all. People just minding their business. Self-victimizing Southern women on TikTok. Everybody else. Who said that? Aloha everyone, welcome to my channel. If you are new here, welcome back if we've been locked in. My name is Sasha and today we're gonna talk about the continued crash outs on TikTok as a result of the election 2024. Now, before we get into this video, I'm doing a challenge for myself, a November YouTube challenge. I would love to get 1,000 subscribers. That is my goal by the end of November. So if you are liking this video, if you're liking the content, if you want more, do not forget to hit that subscribe button. Okay, so let's get into it. Like I said, and I did a video about this last week, the crash outs from the results of the election have been hilarious to mostly extreme, and now they've gotten to the deeply concerning. And in this particular case, like I said, it's equal parts disturbing, but I'm genuinely surprised by it because these reactions are coming from a group of people one would think would be happy with the election results. So it's like, what is the static? Like, what is the issue? Like, why are y'all so mad? I've been asking myself that over the past 2 weeks. Has it been 2 weeks yet? Yeah, it's been 2 weeks. Over the past 2 weeks, I've genuinely been wondering, what are these people so mad about? Like, what is with the self-victimization? It was first with the keep politics out of book talk. Then it went to Thanksgiving is coming up and my family and friends have cut me off because I voted red. And like, okay, I think you'll be fine. Like, you probably knew the consequences, or maybe you didn't know the consequences that were gonna come as a result of that, but people have the right to set whatever boundaries they want to. So is that unfortunate? Yes. Is that a choice that people are allowed to make? Is that a boundary a lot of people are allowed to draw for themselves? Absolutely. Now you have Southern white women claiming that somebody is threatening them, and we all know who this somebody is. It's like a coded, racialized dog whistle that we all know what you're trying to say, right? So Black women have been threatening to jump them over how they voted. And it's like, again, who said that? Nobody can seem to find the original video. And there is just this weird energy. And you know, this may be a chronically online perspective because I don't see a lot of this. I don't have any of these conversations happening in spaces around me at all. So on the one hand, while this may be a chronically online video or just things existing in a social media space, in the, you know, social media TikTok vacuum, if history is any indicator, this will be spreading to the real world and will have real world implications. So just this energy that I've been picking up on post-election from this group of people who are trying to act as if they are a marginalized, oppressed group and are self-victimizing as a result of the way they voted, I'm genuinely confused what these people are so mad about. I know what they're mad about. I don't know if they have the self-awareness to know what they're mad about, but we're gonna talk about it a little later. So first and foremost, you're probably like, Sasha, what the F are you talking about? Basically, if you have not been on these TikTok streets or your For You page, your algorithm is a little bit different than mine, bless you. But I really and truly love that for you. Because some of the things I come across, like my For You page, it's like, how did this get here? There is this trend of white women, specifically Southern white women who voted for Donald Trump, taking to TikTok to basically alert other Southern white women that Black women are threatening to jump them as a result of how they voted. And some of these, the basic gist of it is, try it with me. You know, I carry pew-pews. No one can find the OG video because it doesn't exist, but everything was sparked by this creator right here by the name of Christy, who was doing a beat, like just doing her makeup, talking about, I heard that people are threatening to jump Southern women because we voted for Donald Trump. And then she pulls out a pair of leggings like, well, y'all better watch out. I don't know if you've heard of these leggings, but these are leggings in which you can keep your tool. And what's very curious to me, this seems to be the first video announcing this trend or bringing it to the forefront in response to, again, Black women threatening violence against Southern white women who voted for Donald Trump. Like, this is the first video in response to this alleged threat, which is absolutely a hoax. What also makes me feel this is absolutely a hoax is somebody pointed out that this Christie woman, she is a part of an MLM and she is selling these leggings and getting commission off of them. So rage bait is all the rage these days, and that is the only way some people know how to engage on social media, to go viral, to trigger strong emotions from people, whether it be love, hate, allegiance, whatever. Some people have no standards, no morals. All they care about is going viral and making sales, and they will use whatever tools at their disposal to make those sales, to go viral, to self-victimize, to build a following, whatever, to sell whatever it is they're trying to sell to you. In this case, this woman is trying to sell these leggings. I think she is also a pastor or a preacher or a prosperity type of, advocate for women, a speaker, a motivational speaker. That's how I saw that she was doing some women's conferences. I know she is also Christian. So she is very obviously trying to appeal to a very specific demographic of women while also allegedly trying to sell these leggings. And as a result of that one video, it has sparked dozens of white women. And now some white men have also jumped into the trend of basically saying, oh, you can try it with me, but I keep that thing on me. And by the way, Southern states, they're stand your ground states. That is perhaps the most triggering part about this entire hoax. And I won't say triggering because I don't live in a Southern state. However, when I say triggering, it is to discuss and talk about, and that's what I want to talk about in this video, is the very real history of violence enacted on Black women, children, and men at just the hint of white women's tears or the threat of violence to white women. The history of that in this country and how much harm and damage it can do, and what can and does happen when these things start online, when you are creating, when you are stoking this narrative, this racism, this hate, this violence, this fear-mongering, this fear. What can happen when it goes from online banter and TikTok videos and rhetoric, the real life implications it can have and the real life harm it can do. And it's like people think that the internet is not a real place. And the internet, while in and of itself, it exists on the screen, it just doesn't stay on the internet. The things that are posted, the ideas that are posted, the culture that is created on the internet, it spills out into people's real lives. And for these Southern white women who are partaking in this trend, it's just cute to them. They're issuing some type of warning. It's a dog whistle. They're saying, try it. In real life, what are the implications behind that? And that's what I want to talk about in this video. Emmett Till, the Central Park Five, the list goes on and on. There are very real consequences behind the mere threat of white women's tears and protecting white women's virtue. In a video I talked about last week, I addressed this energy post-election and how we're seeing this rise in rhetoric, and not just rhetoric, but real tangible rise in white nationalism and violence against Black people, people of color, the LGBTQIA plus community, people who exist outside of this white supremacist structure. There has been an increase in white nationalism, white supremacy, and it is no coincidence that we are seeing this energy as a result of Donald Trump being elected, given what the energy he created. We saw this in 2016, except the energy during that time, it was more jovial. This time around, it is a lot darker. A lot of them seem very angry that people are responding to the results of the election as they have, despite the fact that the person they voted for won. I was talking to one of my friends about this, and he had a conversation with a Trump supporter, and he was saying that he just told the Trump supporter, well, you won. I hope you get everything you voted for. And this guy just got enraged at him. He's like, what do you mean by that? Why are you saying that? Liberal tears. And it's just like, why wouldn't you voted for this man? Why wouldn't you want the things that you voted for to come to pass? Is it because you recognize there's a level of morality in you that recognizes what you are voting for are things that actively harm people and that may be a negative reflection on you as an individual and your sense of morality, and that is triggering for you? I don't know. But I've seen a lot of people online on these e-streets responding the same way, and history repeats itself. And if you don't know your history, you are doomed to repeat it. And I think that there are very many parallels. We may not see the extreme violence in the form of the rise of the KKK and, extreme violence enacted towards Black people that we saw in the post-Civil War Reconstruction era, because we do have laws that are protective of Black people. There are legal protections that exist today that did not exist for Black people in the post-Civil War Reconstruction era. So we will very likely not see that extreme level of violence. But as we are seeing this rise in white nationalism and seeing an attack on CRT, critical race theory, an attack on the education system, what professors and teachers are allowed to teach, an attack on DEI, I think we are absolutely coming to a place where we are going to see an increased level of xenophobia and anti-Black racism that is going to be pervasive in our culture, and not just in our culture, but in our media. It's already infused itself into our politics, but especially we're going to see the rise of this in our media. And I touched upon this earlier, this anger and this itch, this desire for violence and retribution that I see in a lot of people, particularly the white women participating in this, so they're threatening to jump Southern women trend. It is this eagerness, it is this excitement, this anticipation of violence, and how you are going to bait people into a reaction to get the response you want so you can enact this violence on people. While I believe the original video was a hoax in an attempt to sell these leggings, I think the response and the continued how much it is blown up amongst white Southern women who voted for Donald Trump, the ones who are choosing to post this trend on social media, and the white men who have jumped in to assist them and to be like, yeah, we stand our ground here. We got pew pews. We don't play. What I think is happening is this very real desire for violence as a result of a society where we have been increasingly talking about equity, calling out white privilege, calling out white fragility, pushing diversity, equity, inclusion, and representation. We became more pro LGBTQIA+, we became more trans friendly. There was an increasing sense of equity growing in our society for marginalized groups of people. And when you are a group of people who are used to privilege, equality starts to feel like oppression. And I genuinely believe a lot of white people feel like they are oppressed in this country, and that level of oppression has created this sense of anger, and they are looking to take it out on somebody. And so these videos that are basically like, give me a reason, they're waiting for that reason, because they look at these communities as responsible for all of the things that are going wrong in our culture and our society, instead of looking internally and reflecting on what is going on in their lives that are making them feel like they are not ahead or they're not where they should be. And society always needs a scapegoat. It is easier to scapegoat the marginalized groups, people of color, the LGBTQIA+ community, immigrants. It is always easier to scapegoat these groups of people than to reflect on the fact that maybe what is going on in my life and what I am struggling with, my financial struggles, my cultural struggles, the lack of community that I'm feeling, the issues that are going on in my life, maybe it is either a reflection of me or a reflection of my government that is failing me. This country was built on the foundation of white supremacy. And when you are socialized in a culture like that, that culture is built off of your comfort and privilege. And over the past, I would honestly say 5 to 15 years, we've been seeing that culture constantly being question being dismantled step by step by step, and not being totaled and dismantled completely. We are still very much living in a society of white privilege, patriarchy, but it is being called out, and it is now a conversation that we are having in our current cultural lexicon, and we have the language to talk about these things. And people are uncomfortable, increasingly becoming uncomfortable with this call out, with being called out and being called in. And you see somebody like Donald Trump, the rise of Donald Trump, giving these people a voice, even though they are not people who he would ever align himself with on a personal level or regard as friends, be in his personal circle. He is a mouthpiece for a lot of the things that they want to say publicly, but cannot, because it puts their jobs at risk. It puts their livelihood at risk. It puts them at risk in their communities. Donald Trump has given them permission to go back to existing in their racism, in their white privilege, in white supremacy, in their comfort. And anybody who dares speak out about it is a threat to that comfort that must be dealt with. And they feel like they have been given carte blanche to deal with that however they want. And not only has Donald Trump been a mouthpiece for them, but he has also given them permission to act on their racism, on their white privilege, on their white supremacy, knowing that they will also be protected by the law in these stand your ground states. Florida, good old Florida. Florida is like the joke of America. But anyways, Florida was the first state to enact stand your ground laws. And since then, these laws have existed as an excuse for white vigilantism at the detriment of Black men, women, and children. Over half of the states in this country, 27 to be exact, have stand your ground laws. Most of these states are in the South. There are a few, however, that are in what we would qualify as the North. And of course, the community that is the most negatively impacted by these laws, you guessed it. Tell them what they won, Roddy. Yes, you have won a quick history lesson in gun ownership in America. Gun ownership, like everything else in this country, has a racialized anti-Black history. Pre-Civil War slave codes and post-Civil War Reconstruction era Black codes prevented Black people from owning guns due to white fear, control, and racism. This fear of insurrection post-Civil War in the Reconstruction era fueled the rise of the KKK. The 14th Amendment was in part a result of the post-Civil War Reconstruction era Black codes, which made it illegal to prevent Black people from accessing guns. Fast forward to present day 2024, even though Black people have the same gun ownership rights as anybody else in this country, exercising that right has always carried an extra level of paranoia, heated provocation, hypervigilance, and to a certain degree, a burden on Black people. It is no coincidence to me that 2 weeks ago, last week, a lot of Black women were online talking about steps that they would be taking over the next 4 years to just ensure their safety and protect themselves. And a lot of Black women were talking about becoming gun owners, getting their concealed carry license. There has always been that fear of the Black body. And I think that is a subconscious fear that exists amongst white people, especially back during slavery days, that if these people have an opportunity to arm themselves and protect themselves, will they exert the same level of violence on me that I have exerted on them? And I think that thought has been passed down from generation to generation to generation with the imagery, with the stereotypes of Black people, especially Black men, as brutes that need to be controlled. And you as a white person have the right to protect yourself against this brute, against this Black or foreign other who is always depicted as savage, depicted as bigger and older than they are, always portraying the Black body as something to be feared. And therefore, white people have to protect themselves. It is no coincidence to me that as we are seeing Black women, a group that this country is used to displaying disregard for, violence against, the most disrespected group of people in this country, Black women are now exercising a right that is available to them to protect themselves, gun ownership. And all of a sudden, the narrative is now Black women are threatening to jump Southern women. No coincidence at all to me. They know this fear, or even the perceived threat of fear, no matter how irrational, because of white supremacy, because of anti-Black racism, and because of white privilege, and how these laws protect white people at the expense of Black people. They also are comfortable existing online, running with this trend that they are going to excitedly and eagerly and anxiously, they are anticipating this moment where they can act on that fear of threat of violence and get away with it, because they know the law is on their side, and they will use that law to their side to protect themselves when they are actually the danger, and historically have been the danger to the communities that they say they are afraid of. And not only that they are afraid of, but that they are protecting themselves from. When the most marginalized group in this country have started to say, we are going to act on the same rights that are available to you, now that they want to act on those rights to protect themselves, them protecting themselves and acting on their rights is now inciting fear in you, when you've had all these rights all along. And now you are excited to exercise those rights and that violence against them. In stand your ground states and concealed carry states, gun ownership is less about self-protection for Black people and more about vigilantism for white people to enact violence on said Black people and people of color. This may seem like just a trend, and I think it's very easy to dismiss these videos as, oh, here white women go again, or people crashing out over the election. However, there is a very real, again, racialized history of violence in this country as a result of white women's tears, as a result of white women's comfort and virtue allegedly being violated. And I really think that as people are doing these trends, there is a very real repercussion and consequence to what they're doing. And I saw another creator talking about, should we be reporting these videos? Should we report them to the FBI? I don't know what the answer is. TikTok, unfortunately, is not an app that is intent on protecting its users, especially the Black community. TikTok is a very racist, anti-Black app. So unfortunately, the only way to use that app and feel safe is to curate a very specific experience for yourself. And maybe it wouldn't hurt to report these videos. However, the very real reality of them is that people post things online not thinking about the larger implication, the real world impacts it's going to have. And this is one of those things, if we are going to continue to see, if history is going to repeat itself, and this is our post-Civil War Reconstruction era, if we are living that right now and history is repeating itself, Black people in southern states, Black women in southern states, people of color in southern states, be very careful. There are people who are relying on your emotions, your reaction. They are existing. They are coming at you with the intention of antagonizing you and provoking you into reaction, into response, knowing that the law will be on their side, knowing that they have white privilege and a history of white supremacy to protect them. If it ever comes down to violence being enacted against you, please use your common sense. Please do not allow yourself to be baited into a response by these people who are existing in this state of perceived self-victimization, heightened anger, and feeling like something is being taken away from. They are looking for a reaction. They are looking for a response. They are looking for attention. It is your job to starve them of it. Protect yourself, protect your peace. And if you want to report these videos, great. If not, block them and keep them moving. Do not give them the attention and the energy they are very obviously looking for online and in real life. Drop down in the comments, let me know if you've seen these videos, what your thoughts are about these videos. Have you reported them? Do you think that we are now in a space post-election, we are now seeing history repeat itself with this post-Civil War Reconstruction era? Drop down in the comments, let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Again, I'm trying to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of November. So if you could hit that subscribe button, I would really appreciate it. And until next time, peace out.